So have you ever agreed with everything someone said just to get them to like you? Went out of your way to cater to everybody else's needs, even if it meant sacrificing your own? Let people walk all over you because you're just being a nice person? Sorry, not sorry, bestie, but you are a people pleaser. But do not worry, I got you, okay? As a former people pleaser myself, I learned how to officially retire from all of that, and now I have never felt more confident in my life. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you exactly how to stop people pleasing, set boundaries, get your power back, and be your most confident best self. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lena. I have a self-help series here on my channel where we discuss all things becoming your best self. So if you're not subscribed already,
what are you doing?
Okay,
what are you doing?
Go subscribe right now. So first things first, you want to understand the root cause of why you people please in the first place. So the root cause of people pleasing can stem from a bunch of different things, and we have time, bestie, so we are covering all of them. Because one thing about me is that my people pleasing tendencies was so ingrained into my brain, so I literally had to learn all of my root causes to get rid of them. So first, your childhood, the way you were raised. So maybe your parents raised you in an environment where they only showed you love, attention, and approval when you got straight A's, or you were excelling in sports, or you just stayed quiet and did everything you were told. Low self-esteem. This one was a huge factor for me. I had the lowest self-esteem growing up, and when you don't have a strong sense of self and you are insecure, you are going to seek validation from other sources, other people. And for me, having people like me became a source of validation and approval. And this is literally how I was my entire childhood. Okay, listen, I know being Korean is like cool nowadays with, you know, K-pop and Korean dramas, but when I was growing up, being Asian in general was just not cool for whatever reason, okay? I was the only Asian in a lot of my friend groups, my basketball teams, everything. And so I was bullied a lot for being Asian. And the reason why I have like one childhood friend is because all of my childhood friendships was literally based on letting other people bully me and make fun of me. Like, I just wanted to make friends so badly that I would let these people who were making fun of me continue to do so just so I could say that I'm friends with them. And because I feared rejection from them. So maybe you have way more of an avoidant attachment style. So you tend to avoid conflict, and you would rather put other people's feelings over your own. Perfectionism. Maybe you're a perfectionist, and so you try really hard to just maintain this flawless image and be perfect by avoiding any criticism or negative attention from other people. So you will literally bend over backwards just to get their approval. Codependency. So if you have a tendency to have a lot of codependent relationships around you, and if you're a codependent person, you almost feel responsible for other people's feelings and needs. I actually had a lot of codependent relationships in my lifetime because I was a people pleaser and wanted to do everything for everybody else. And last but not least, you're just genuinely an empathetic person, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, highly empathetic and sensitive people, you just naturally care about others. But it becomes a problem when you are constantly putting other people first and it's becoming a detriment to your own well-being. So what does people pleasing look like when it's manifested? It can look like constantly saying yes. So you literally agree to every request, every invitation, every favor someone asks you to do, even when it conflicts with your own schedule and your own needs. Avoiding conflict, so you never express disagreement with someone else or stand up for yourself just to avoid upsetting others or making someone not like you. For example, growing up, people would literally say racist things to me and I would never call them out. Even something little like when they would just assume I'm Chinese, I wouldn't even correct them that I'm Korean because my people pleasing was that ingrained in my brain. I didn't even want to correct them. Overcommitting, so you take on more task responsibilities just to make other people happy and just seem more reliable. Changing opinions, so you change your opinions, your preferences, your decisions just to align with the person you're talking to rather than voicing your own thoughts and your opinions. Basically just being a super agreeable person. Apologizing excessively. This one was a big one for me, okay? I used to say sorry literally every other word in a sentence. Like, for example, even asking for the bathroom at a cafe, I would be like, sorry, do you know where the bathroom is? Oh, thank you, sorry. Just basically apologizing for my entire existence constantly. So basically saying sorry excessively even when you've done nothing wrong. Neglecting your own self-care and well-being. So you literally just prioritize everyone else's well-being and you don't check in on yourself. Avoiding asking for help. This one is also a big one, okay? You are such a people pleaser that you don't even want to be a burden to anyone else, even when you do need help and someone else offers. Back when I was a people pleaser, I almost wired myself to think that whenever I asked for help, I was just being a burden on other people and that would cause them to not like me. So basically, whenever I needed help with anything, even if it was carrying my heavy suitcase up the stairs, I wouldn't let anyone help me. Like, I would just do it on my own. Suppressing your emotions. So you hide your true emotions, your frustration, your anger, your sadness, just to maintain peace and make sure everyone else feels comfortable, not yourself. Taking blame. So you literally take blame and responsibility for for everything, everyone, just to appease others. Excessive flattery, so you are constantly complimenting other people, which don't get me wrong, I love giving out compliments, but when you're a people pleaser, you almost excessively compliment people with the intention to get their favor or approval rather than offering genuine compliments. So next, learn to set boundaries, okay? Listen, if you do any of the things that I just mentioned, those are all forms of people pleasing. And it's totally okay if you didn't realize this. I did not realize this at first. Like, I genuinely did not know for the longest time that I was people pleasing. I thought I was just a nice person. But bestie, there is a big difference between genuinely being a nice person and just being a doormat for everyone else to walk all over. I had to realize that my intention behind doing this for someone, giving someone this compliment, letting a friend be disrespectful towards me, this all stemmed from my own lack of self-esteem. And me doing all these nice things wasn't actually for the other person. It was actually for myself. So I was being selfish, not a good person, not a nice person, but that ultimately wasn't serving anyone, not them, not me, because my people-pleasing tendencies wasn't from me doing everything out of the pure kindness of my heart. It's because I wanted them to like me. So that's not being a good person towards them, and I was also doing no favors to myself by being everyone's doormat. And of course, relationships are all about compromise, okay? But there is a genuine difference between compromising and then constantly letting yourself down and never showing up for yourself. Also, therapy was actually a huge help for me to stop people pleasing and learn to overcome my fears. And once I started to genuinely take care of my mental health, I noticed a huge difference in my self-esteem, my motivation, and just my life in general. So I'm actually so excited to introduce today's sponsor of the video, BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. And with BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. I actually used BetterHelp while I was in college. When I was in this weird transition period of my life, I was a senior in college, I was about to graduate, I was deep into my people-pleasing tendencies, and I just felt so lost. And it was so helpful to have a therapist in my corner who helped me get through that stage of my life and overcome my fears. So BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful and unbiased advice. First, you go to their website and you can use my link, betterhelp.com/LenaLifts. You just answer a few questions and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. And you can do it all from the comfort of your home with a phone or computer, via phone call, video chat, or messaging. You'll be matched to a therapist usually within 48 hours, so you can start super fast. So let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your home. Visit betterhelp.com/LenaLifts or choose Lena Lifts during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Listen to my words, okay? A nice person is someone who has respect for others, is compassionate, considerate. A nice person is not a doormat. So what is the solution? To set boundaries. So what are boundaries? These are limits that you need to set to protect your own well-being and make sure that you are treating yourself and other people are treating you with respect, with the respect that you deserve. So for example, if a friend asks you to come over so that she can vent to you, and literally every single time you guys hang out, it's just her constantly just talking about herself, her own problems, and just trauma dumping on you. She never asks how you're doing, how you're feeling, what's going on in your life. In that case, you need to set a boundary. You tell her, listen, I appreciate the invite, but I will only accept if we can share more of a mutual productive conversation where we ask each other how we're doing. Let's say your roommate left dirty dishes in the sink for the 5th night in a row. I would really appreciate it if you cleaned your dishes in a timely fashion. Let's say you're talking to a guy that you like, but he only calls and texts you when it's super late at night. You need to set a boundary. I need to get a good night's sleep because I have a very busy day tomorrow, so I'd appreciate it if you avoid calling or texting me late at night. Practice in a safe space. So literally hearing any of those examples that I just mentioned, 2 years ago, Lena would literally be sweating, nervous, scared, stressed. Like, it sounds so terrifying to set those boundaries. And when you're used to people pleasing, it does sound scary at first, okay? And it's not going to be easy, but that's why you have to take the time to train yourself to be better at setting boundaries. So that's why I highly recommend setting boundaries in a safe space. So for example, I like to start with the little thing, just straight up saying no to my friend who wants to hang out because I had a busy week and I just want a self-care day to myself. I just tell my friend, I would love to see you, but today I'm not feeling up to it. I've had a really busy week. I'd love to schedule something next week. Whereas before, even if I was exhausted and needed a self-care day, I would just go out and hang out with them. Another example, hitting no for a tip at a cafe if the barista was straight up being rude or unfriendly, or all they did was literally pour already made coffee into my cup and give it to me. Listen, as someone who goes to cafes very often, I've come across some, not all, super rude baristas who almost feel entitled to a tip, and I always used to just tip 20% because a lot of times I felt like they were staring at me while I was doing the little iPad thing paying for it. But now if I feel like this barista does not deserve the tip, I just smile at them and I hit the no tip button with the quickness. If the perfume lady stops me at the store even though I'm really busy and asks me if I want a spray of the perfume, I will literally just say no thank you. Whereas before I would have been like, yeah, sure, and let her talk to me for 10-15 minutes even though I have something to do. It's basically all about training yourself in these little situations to think about your own needs and your own wants and then making a decision. And it's really helpful to do this in harmless situations like what I just mentioned, because the people-pleasing thought process all these years has conditioned you to think about literally everybody else except for yourself. So we gotta train ourselves to get out of that mindset. Deal with your fear. Like I said before, one of the reasons why you are people-pleasing is because you have a fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of conflict. So what we need to do is break down that fear into its like tiniest, littlest, most insignificant bit, because our brain likes to trick ourselves that our fear is so valid and we need to act on it, because our brain is just constantly in survival mode. So our brains love to think of the worst and let the fear get the best of us. So break down your fear by asking yourself, then what? I've actually talked about this method before in my How to Beat Anxiety video. You can watch that if you haven't already. So let's say you paid for your friend's lunch for the 5th time in a row, and she said she would pay you back and has never paid you back for any of those lunches. Ask yourself, then what? You can either remind her that she owes you some money or wait till she pays you back. Then what? If you remind her that she owes you money, it might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but then you will get your money back. Or you will never get your money back. Then what? You either get your money back from the friend, or you have a friend that is most likely using you for your money, and that's probably not a friend that you want anyway. Then what? Life moves on. It's not that big of a deal. You find a new friend who doesn't use you for money. So you gotta ask yourself those questions, and they're really not that hard questions, babes. Like, I realize that when I break down my fear into the littlest, smallest bit, it's really not that scary. You are the main character of your own life. Act like it. You guys, the day I realized I was the side character in everyone else's life, including my own, because I was a people pleaser, was the day I was like,
No.
okay, no more of this. Now I refuse to have side character energy, because we all have one life on this earth to live. I don't know about you, but I do not want to spend the rest of my life on this earth being a side character in everyone else's life, including my own. So prioritize yourself. Treat yourself with the respect that you deserve. Understand yourself, your own needs, your own wants. If you don't want to go to that party, if you don't want to be friends with that person, don't be friends with that person. If you don't want to go to that party, do not go to that party. Make decisions and curate your own life like you are your own main character. Actually, the other week, my friend Mai told me that she really respects how honest I am sometimes. Like, if she asks me, hey, let's go out this weekend, and maybe that week my social battery is just super low and I'm not really feeling up to it, I will literally tell her, no, not today. My social battery is super low. I need a weekend to myself. Let's hang out next weekend, figure something out. And she told me not a lot of friends around her are that honest like me. Maybe they just make an excuse that they have something when they really don't. So you need to start respecting your own needs and wants, and the people in your life who genuinely love you and respect you will respect your own needs and wants. Take stock of your own needs. So you can do this by asking yourself some of these questions. What makes me happy? How does doing this thing make me feel afterwards? Will it give me energy or deplete my energy? Am I thinking of myself in this situation? Those are the 3 main questions that I try to ask myself anytime I'm in a situation where I feel my people-pleasing tendencies come up. There's also some steps that you can take to help you realize what your needs are. So first, self-reflection. You want to spend some quality time with yourself, some quiet time, and think about what your feelings, your desires, and experiences are. Ask yourself what makes you happy, what stresses you out, and what you genuinely need to feel fulfilled. Identify patterns. So look for patterns in your life where you find yourself prioritizing other people's needs over your own. So for me, it was my friendships. I had a pattern and tendency to people please with all of my friends. I especially did this with friends who were constantly talking crap behind my back and leaving me out. They would just hang out without me. But I was so much of a people pleaser, I didn't even want to confront them. So I had to identify my own patterns in these friendships. What was causing me to people please? Why was I attracting these type of people? What can I do to stop hanging out with those type of people? Make an actual list of your own needs and wants. So it's honestly really helpful to write down your personal needs and wants. It can be physical needs like exercise, sleep, emotional needs like feeling respected, valued, mental health needs. So having time for your hobbies, having time to relax, set clear boundaries. So based on that list of your needs and wants, you need to establish boundaries that will protect those needs. So knowing that you have to tell your friend, no, I cannot help you move into your apartment today because I was up at 3 in the morning doing work and I need to sleep in this morning. You tell the guy that you just went on a date with, no, I don't think we should go on another date because I don't think we are compatible. You tell your boss, no, I will not continue to put in late nights doing work that's outside of my job description. Stop taking things so personally. The whole world is not against you, okay? I know someone out there needs to hear this because I did. I used to think that the whole world was out to get me. I was so dramatic, I know. I used to get offended so easily and be so sensitive and just take things so personally, which caused my people-pleasing tendencies to be in overdrive. Like, for example, I would literally let let my whole week get ruined just because the barista at a cafe was rude to me, even though I went out of my way to be nice and smile and be super polite. Or when I found out a best friend of mine was talking crap about me, even though I went above and beyond to get them to like me. So people pleasing with strangers, I actually still have to check myself sometimes because I would take it so personally when strangers would go out of their way to be rude to me. Like for example, a few months ago, I was in the elevator of my apartment and this man came in and literally shoulder checked me. I almost fell over because he hit me so hard with his shoulder. I looked at him, he did not say sorry, he didn't say anything. He just looked visibly angry. And the other girl that was in the elevator was like, excuse you, like defending me, and he literally started cursing her out. True story. And I literally didn't even do anything but just stand in an elevator and mind my own business. First of all, people, especially strangers, who go out of their way to be outwardly rude to you, I had to realize that they have nothing to lose. That is so sad. No stable, happy, normal human being would just shoulder check, shove some random person in an elevator. I know that because I am a happy, genuine person and I would never do that. Another thing, my parents have always raised me to be extra nice to people who work in service. So like janitors, waiters, taxi drivers, Uber drivers, all of them. My mom worked at a nail salon. My dad worked as a cab driver in the city. So I know how difficult those jobs are. Respect to everyone who does service jobs. It is so difficult. So I always make sure to go above and beyond for people who work in service because their job is really hard and they have to deal with difficult people on a daily basis. So a lot of the times when they're coming off as rude, it's not you, it's just because their job is hard and maybe they're having a bad day, and unfortunately they might not be emotionally intelligent enough to separate their unhappiness or discontentment with their situation with you, the stranger that's in front of them. And so yeah, it's definitely easier to take things personally when it's coming from people who you love and are supposed to love you, like someone you care about, your partner, your sibling, your family. But there's a saying that we accept the love that we think that we deserve. If you are accepting crap behavior from the people who are supposed to show up for you and love you for who you are, then you really need to level up your standards and set boundaries. This is a saying that I read from a book, but it's when you set boundaries with others, you are being nice to yourself, not mean to them. And this is so important, okay? You need to stop associating setting healthy boundaries as being mean. It does not make you mean at all whatsoever. You are actually being the most considerate person you can be by setting healthy boundaries. And last but not least, I always say this, but you should want to be loved for who you are, not someone that you are not. And being a people pleaser is someone that you truly aren't. That is not your genuine self. I used to have these super close friends in college that the friendship was just extremely toxic, and I wanted to continue being friends with them so badly that even though I knew that they were talking crap about me behind my back, being straight up rude to me, passive aggressive towards me, and I would just always agree with anything that they said, even if I disagreed with it in my head, because I wanted them to like me. But I realized the hard way that the only reason why they continued to be friends with me was not because they loved me for who I genuinely was, but it was because I was letting them treat me like their doormat. They did not love me, they loved the people-pleasing version of me. And so when I dropped this people-pleasing identity, the friendships I made from that people-pleasing identity, they dropped too. And that is the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because even though I have the least amount of friends that I have now than I've ever had, I am also the happiest. And now I've trained my brain to literally think whenever I meet anyone, instead of being like, oh my gosh, do they like me? I ask myself, do I like them? So yeah, I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any advice for people who struggle with people pleasing, leave them in the comments below, because we like to put each other on. We do not gatekeep on this channel. We help each other become our best selves. And yeah, if you're a real one, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And I love you guys so much, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye guys.
Taking a ride to journey 눈치 보면서 들어가 할 때 찾아